S 1450 AM and W272EK 102.3 FM, licensed to New Bern, North Carolina. News, information, community awareness, education. The Mary Perkins-Williams Show.
Good morning, radio audience. How are you? It's so good to be able to get up and move around and talk and think and smile. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams Show, and I am live on Awesome Radio. And today, I have some concerns, not only as a resident of this county, not only as a lifelong resident of this county, but also as an elected official of this county. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams Show. And today, we are off the cuff, and we are on the board. WECU, 1570 on the AM dial and 107.5 right here in the city of Greenville. My lifetime here in Pitt County has at some times during this time in my life, there has been a lot of changes in Pitt County. Some of them are good, some of them are announced and didn't happen, and some of them are, I won't use the term taxation, but rather than a charge of action for us. It's been a long time since I have been involved in civil action as an advocate of change for people who are not able to express themselves within the change. I'm grateful that the people in District 2 has elected to keep me on as a county commissioner. Now, the difference between county commissioner and others is that our representation involves policy, laws, rules, and suggestions for the county of Pitt. We are today on social media. I have accepted the opportunity to be on social media. And social media is not a medium for which I like to work with. Because in social medium of the social medium of conversation, news, of communication, allows anyone to create information and create conversation. Some conversation has been good and some has not been good, and some has just outright been non-truthful presentation. I experienced something in the last week or so. I lost a classmate. We went to and this is not the first time this has happened. Walter Baker Cancer and I, he started in Shivers School. Shivers is a school that's used to be located on Briley Road, over near Welcome Middle School. I was living on right off of Old River Road, just west of the airport. And at that time, back in our lives of going to school, we had to walk to school. Well, he lived on near, I don't know what's the name of that road now, but it's over there north of Oak Grove. And he had to walk from that road down a little pass beyond north of the Martin Luther King Boulevard in that area, all the way over to Briley Road to Shivers. I had to walk from Perkins Road now, that's what it's called. And it wasn't called that then. It didn't have a name. It was just Route 4. I had to walk from there with uh, my uh, oldest sister child to Meadowbrook. Meadowbrook is east of us and east of the airport. The principal, I don't know who the principal was at Shivers, but I do know that in Meadowbrook, the principal was Miss Fanny Jackson. She lived right there near the railroad track of Meadowbrook, and the Meadowbrook has east side of the railroad track and a west side of the railroad track, and the school was located in the west side of the railroad track. And I accompanied my nephew at that time, my sister's oldest child, who's older, much older than I am. He, who does not live now, we walked together, and there was a little pond that we always had to cross, and he would pick me up and carry me on his back so that my shoes wouldn't get dirty because my mama would get me. But today, we have school buses. We have all kinds of transportation, and schools have changed, and a lot of things has happened. So as I mourn the departure of my lifetime classmate, because in elementary school, when I became in first grade, they moved Shivers from Briley Road over to Belvoir Elementary School, and my schooling was redirected to Belvoir. So they merged the Meadowbrook School and the Shiver School to the Belvoir Elementary School. And at that time, it was called Sally Branch, named after an older lady from way back, an educator. And now it's called Belvoir Elementary. And this is a little history, but what got me on that was not just my mourn and my grief of losing a lifetime person with whom we went from elementary school together, all in elementary. Now it starts at I won't say daycare, but it starts at pre-K, and he was first grade. In this terminology of losing him, and I thought about all of the recollections of our school activities from Belvoir, or the old Sally Branch School, all the way through high school, Bethel Union. During that time, we went from segregated schools to integrated schools. That means segregated school means all races go to the same school from the same area, and it's to help in the economics of educating the children of the time. So I'm giving you some history that I recall because I am over 16. And I am I'm still in 2 digits though, but I am over 16, and I'm beyond secondary, primary, secondary, and high school education. And I've also completed my academic education. That's in college, where you can go and sit all day in a class talking about different things on one subject. I'm bringing this up so that you have a little history and a lot of things. And this you won't find probably in any books. You may not find it in anything except people who still live. Unfortunately, our class, when I graduated from high school, Walton Baker Council and we didn't call him Walter Baker. We were speaking Spanish, Walla Baker, Walla Baker, Walla Baker. When we graduated, the the whole rim of the picture of graduation, you can count them, there was 105 students in that class with three different sections, A, B, and C section. I started thinking about a lot of the things in school. And what bothers me is that in education, it seems to me as a person who have gone from different aspects of being educated. I went to, after graduation from high school, I went to North Carolina Central University. Walter went to Agricultural and Technical State University, A&T State University. My North Carolina Central University started out as North Carolina College, and during that time it changed to North Carolina Central University in Durham, and A&T, which is what we call Agriculture and Technical State University, is in Greensboro. We I'm giving a little history because when the school system merged, I served on the merger board for the Pitt County government, where we merged from city, because Meadowbrook was in the city and Walter was in the country. When we merged the city and county based on where we were geographically located in the county, we followed through. We didn't fuss. We might have grumbled and groaned from having to change, but we attended school. What bothers me now is that there is no history. The basic of education in that time has been erased. Because when the schools merged from segregated schools, there were white schools and black schools. When the schools merged from the segregation aspect, we were finding records for the black school in the trash or in the dump, and there was not a keeping of it. And the school annuals, yearbooks had been tossed. That's history. And I don't know if it happened in other schools, because we didn't have but one vehicle in the house, and that vehicle was an old car my parents had. And we had mules that we could ride on, and we could hook the mule to a trailer or a tobacco truck or another makeshift carrying passenger kind of mule and cart, where there was a two-wheel on each side. When the schools merged, we grumbled, but there was no physical rejection of having to go to that school. So we went on, rode the bus. Some of us drove a bus. Walter drove bus 18, and I drove bus 126, and the buses didn't get paid, but maybe 23 cents a month. And Walter has a nice big bus, and it was 18. But what got me today is that as I went to the Human Relations Council meeting last night, and at that meeting, I was a little late because I had gone to Walter's entombment, a burial, as a retired military serviceman in the Army. He had served in the Army, and he had served a lot of his time in the National Guard. National Guard serves government of local entity. the military, army, or armed forces. There are five different armed forces, Air Force and all kinds, but he served in the armed force. And what I'm telling you is a little history that exists within. And it bothers me that nowadays we get jerked around. And I'm calling it jerked around because I'm really a bit emotional about it. When I was we were sharing in our comments last night of the human relation times, human related things. And I like to also thank Bob. He is Asian American. And he had come up with DICA, which is an art contest throughout the United States. And I had become a judge for his effort of bringing art in. Now, art isn't important to some people, but art is a process of making you do creative thoughts about whatever it is, the subject matter. And this being the 250th celebration for the United States. So the art program was that, and I was one of the judges. And I'd like to thank two people who assisted me because my stack was big and I had a lot of art. I'm not an artist. I was an artist in elementary school. I was one of the teachers' artists. Ella Braswell and I was the artist. We would draw, we would create artworks for the teachers. We got away from it, but Ella and I still live. What got me was that in that expression of human relations, the Human Relations Council for Pitt County government consists of members of every municipality in Pitt County, all 10 of them, every township, and including the village of Simpson. That's the only town that is named Village. So there are representatives on that. And we were thanking the Asian American on the board about his term. And one of the board members is represented by, she is Chantel Hawkins. She's from the Winterville Township, and she serves on the board. But she is appointed to the Pitt County government as the person who represent the National Association of African Americans Civil Rights, NAACP. And she commented on Walter. Oh man, we already got the first break. Did I bring my calendar in? So we already have the first break, and I'm really into my thoughts. So we're gonna take a break in 2 minutes, and it's 1 minute and 56 seconds. And I'm gonna continue this because I want to get to the emotion that has prompted me today as it relates to education, celebration, and civil rights. So, which is a conglomeration that just come in on me. And as you can tell, even though when Walter passed, I became a little bit in speech impediment, that I was stuttering some and I couldn't get my words out because of my grief for Walter as a classmate, my classmate in high school, my brothers and sisters. My mama didn't have any boys. She didn't have any males. She had all girls, and she made us tough. So I'm going to get to that. And I am remembering what Walter and I went through and it was just not us, but his family owned a farm. And so did my family. And there were others in the northern part of Pitt County who were African American and owned land, as well as the Caucasian or white, as we are commonly expressed for people who are much lighter skinned than we are. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams Show, and we will be going into the calendars that's going on. And I certainly hope my calendar is in my pocketbook, but I know it's not. And I will be back with you in a few seconds. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams show on Awesome Radio, and you can call me anytime in this show at 252-756-2008 on your phones. Can I read that?
It's revival time at Salvation and Praise Full Gospel Church, 9243 West Marlboro Road in Farmville, North Carolina. We have the honor of having none other than Elder Isaac Barnes from Wilson Chapel Free Will Baptist Church out of Wilson, North Carolina, coming to render the Word of God June 17th through the 19th at 7 o'clock p.m. Our theme for this year is Believe the Impossible. The Bible says that with men, these things are impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And we are standing on that word and believing that anything the enemy is trying to hold up, God has already released in our lives. So no matter what it looks like, it belongs to us. So again, 9243 West Marlboro Road, Farmville, North Carolina, Salvation and Praise invite you to be our guest. We'll see you there.
Awesome Radio Network will be spreading the love of Jesus to the male residents at McGregor Downs Health Center, Greenville, with a gift bag for Father's Day on Friday, June 19th. If you would like to help donate, $10 will sponsor a bag. We can be reached at 252-756-3137. Visit our website to see the gift bags for our Mother's Day giveaway, awesomeradionetwork.org. Pictures are also on our Facebook page at Awesome Radio WECU. Look for our logo. We can be reached at 252-756-3137. That's 252-756-3137. Hello, this is Cheryl Davis. Thank you for listening to the Awesome Radio Network.
Awesome Radio, yeah, it's awesome, awesome, can you feel it? Awesome, awesome.
News, information, community awareness, education. The Mary Perkins-Williams Show.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm back, and I ran to the car and got my calendar. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. I was giving you some oral history of education beginnings, changes in Pitt County. And not only was it in Pitt County, these personal recollections for me as a person and a lifetime resident of Pitt County. Taxpayer, my parents paid taxes, and they were in second and third grade, and I'm paying taxes, and I happen to have more education than they did. But I must say, their education was far beyond the aspiration of education in formality. They had common sense and a sense of thought that you can't get from anywhere except out of that human brain and the differences in people and lifetimes and activities. So what I'm working up to, because I got worked up at the, I was already a bit down from a classmate of mine, Walter Baker Cancer, who was funeralized this past weekend on Sunday and was in the armed forces. And I was in my first motorcade. I haven't said that much. I just did what I felt like I needed to do. And we met as a class at his funeral. And I like to thank the family for reserving a seat for us, because now at this age, all of us was in Walter's age and age bracket. Some of us was a little older than I am. But we were brothers and sisters. And some people say in Christ, but we were brothers and sisters in the life of education and community activities here in Pitt County. A lot of us left after graduation and went beyond, and some of us didn't. But Walter went to A&T in Greensboro, and I went to North Carolina Central University in Durham. And life didn't take us away from our home place. We returned to our home place to share in the knowledge that we had been given. So, but last night at the uh, Human Relation Council of the Pitt County government had meeting. We were a very strong group. Our meetings are not televised, but so we had quite an informal presentation from each member of comments from us as an individual. And I had not said anything. And of course, Chantia Hawkins, who's served on the Winterville Town Board, brought up a lot of things. First, Carlton Dawson, who is in the, oh, wow, it walked right away from me, down east in the eastern part, south of Grimesland, on the area like you're going to New Bern. And I'm going to call that name not Chocowinity. It's before you get to Chocowinity, and in that township area. And I think Lauren White used to represent that. Huh? Not Groundsland. It's a little further than Groundsland. It's south. But anyway, it used to help. You had a pig palace down there on Highway 43 going to New Bern. But anyway, Chickard, that's what I was thinking of. Chickard. That's a school right there, and that Chickard school was there when we was going, as well as G.R. Whitfield. See, G.R. Whitfield was in Grimesland. But so Carlton Dawson was from the Chickard area, and he was talking and memorizing the human relations and the aspects of Benny Robert Roundtree, who passed recently. And he spent his life, as we knew it, in civil rights. And Benny died at the age of 91 and was funeralized later. And I guess the board was thinking about a lot of the people who are African Americans back in the day. Benny was not that educated. He had a way of expressing himself, but we understood him. But he was strong in civil rights. He owned quite a bit, most of the Albemarle Avenue in Greenville he had purchased. And he was supported by someone who was not African American. Because when you live in a country, in spacious living, the houses are far apart. And it doesn't matter what the person looked like, what race or what sex they were. We learned to live together and get along. So the group were really pulling out. And when Carlton brought up Benny Robert Roundtree, we went around. And of course, I just didn't feel like talking about Walter, because Walter's death was a severe shock to me. It was. He was not. At certain ages, you all have some issues with your physical body, and some people have issues with their mental state. So, but and the screws are never real tight sometimes, because your screw is loose and you joke and kid around. That's life. But we learn to respect people, regardless of their race, excuse me, regardless of their sex, regardless of their religion. We learn to respect, be responsible, and protective and secure everybody. Thank you. So Carlton brought that up, and Chantel started talking about Benny Roundtree. And I don't remember who brought up Walter Baker Cancel, who was from the Shivers area. in District 2 of Pitt County, and he died at his home yard on Fifth Street. And his wife, Mildred Atkinson Council, also is from that area. She was from the Belleville community, and her parents and Bethel. So here we go. What got us worked up after the board tuned out, I had been quite quiet. They brought up the shifting of the schools. What is this? I'm supposed to be talking about my calendar. I'm back to my topic. I'm going to take this break. When I come back, there's something in my calendar I want to share with you, and I'm going to include that with the continuation of this. This is, and I forgot that it was because I ran to the car and got my calendar, and so I forgot what I was going to do when I come back with my calendar. So I'm going to share with you this program that we need to do, and we need to stop sitting on our porches. We need to get out of our houses. The children are out of school. There's a lot that we need to do as not only seniors but young adults, and we need to help herd the cattle in to the corral so that our children will not go astray while they are roaming the countryside with nothing to do, because we don't have an awful lot and we don't have transportation over there. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams Show, and I was talking about my meeting from last night. I picked up where I left off. We did not get to the calendar, but as soon as I come back, I'm going to bring up that issue on the calendar that I want to share with you. And stay tuned. The number to call if you have a question, or if you have a comment, I welcome the comments this time, is 252 756 2008 if you want to call in when we come back. And I will hope that the engineer will tell you, and I will say you're live and on the air with Awesome Radio, the Mary Perkins-Williams Show. I welcome your comments, your questions today as we go through life in a new aspect.
Have you ever wished there was a place where
forgot
faith,
what I was
community, healthy living, and entrepreneurship could come together? Welcome to Journey Cafe in Greenville, North Carolina, a community cafe with purpose. At Journey Cafe, you can sip healthy smoothies, shop local products, and support entrepreneurs who are building dreams right here in our community. For many small business owners, expensive pop-up events bring high fees and little long-term growth. Journey Cafe offers something different, a consistent opportunity to display, sell, and grow in a supportive environment where relationships matter. More than just a cafe, Journey Cafe is a platform for opportunity, a place where community connects and purpose thrives. They are currently seeking investors and community partners who believe in building something that creates impact for generations to come. Visit Journey Cafe at 401 Evans Street in Greenville. Journey Cafe, stronger together.
Awesome radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome. Awesome.
News, information, community awareness, education. The Mary Perkins-Williams Show.
Good morning, I'm back. And I was talking during my calendar time. I got off because I ran to the car to get my calendar. And I was distracted, really, into what I was going to do. I wanted to share with you that I've been invited to a stakeholders meeting. But I was also, it's a combination of what happened within the community as the passing of a classmate whom I looked at as a brother for my lifetime, and we were in the same area, and he transitioned. There's a stakeholders meeting that will be happening tomorrow, which is Thursday, and it starts out in the morning, and I did accept that invitation before I learned about Walter's transition, because it was before that he had a transition with his family, and his family is still around, and his two children, Walter and Mildred, had two boys, and so the stakeholders meeting is going to be at Joiner Library, and I started my professional activity back in my home place because my parents were still living, and I was a change of life baby. And I talked about that early in this show. We're not going to that. We're continuing my life sort of like with this. Join a library is in the heart, to me, it's in the heart of East Carolina University. The library is a storehouse of history, current news, and future views of the country, of the world, of everything that has to do with education. And that's what East Carolina University is, a place of knowledge. So I accepted that invitation, and at Walters, one of the professors at East Carolina University, I joined the library faculty and staff in July 1970, and it was a long time before I saw professional faculty members who were African Americans that you could interact with, but the university broadened its hiring of faculty, people of color. And what I said was people of color, because there was other races beyond white and black. See, I came out with my old, and African American is a term now, but black was much quicker to use. I saw someone, because he came here, he said, I came to ECU, not when I was a student. He was among the first graduating class of East Carolina University, Dr. Dennis Chestnut. Now, this doctor is not medical. This doctor is PhD, and he's in psychology. So I met Dennis while I was at Joiner Library, and we became friends, and this is the first time I saw him was yesterday at the dinner we returned from Goldsboro military cemetery in Goldsboro, attending the burial activities and ceremony of Walter Baker Cancel. And I must right here stop, put a pin in it, and say, I've never been in a motorcade before. But I like to say, we never know what people do until the times arise. And yesterday, when I was on the home place of Walter Council, which is over there off of Centerbrook Road, not Centerbrook, Fleming School Road. He's at the intersection of Fleming School Road and crossing over see, I'm back to that part that takes my speech. The high-rise crossing the Martin Luther King Boulevard. So that's where his home place was when he grew up. And I was greeting his family, but Dennis Chestnut was there. He went to school at East Carolina University and part of the first graduating class from East Carolina. And Dennis' hometown is from South Carolina. So he was there, and I hadn't seen him in years, and he lived right here in Pitt County, a taxpayer on 5th Street, a taxpayer on 5th Street. And I saw him yesterday, and he says, Mary Perkins-Williams. And I says, is that Dennis Chestnut? He said, when? And we embraced. And I said, Dennis, where have you been? And he says, on Fifth Street. I'm retired now. I said, oh my goodness. And Dennis was PhD in psychology. And Dennis and I talked about starting the black faculty and staff. We started out as black faculty of East Carolina University. I was in the enjoying the library on their professional staff, and Dennis is a PhD, and he is an EPA, which is exempt personnel, exempt from the State Personnel Act, on the faculty at East Carolina University, and he was a regular teacher. Well, I'm SPA, State Personnel Act of the professional staff at East Carolina University, one of the first in joining a library. And the first in the joining a library, I think, because when I was there wasn't an SPA faculty member. Now, here's the thing. Dennis had sponsored the dinner for the council family and their guests. And my classmate, Anna Catherine Spade, I picked her up, who she's in a wheelchair. How would I say, physically disabled to function? I don't want to make any, I want to use it right, and it's not deterrent, but she, oh, man, that's a miracle right there. But anyway, took her with me to the dinner. We arrived late, and Dennis and I talked for a long time. But Dennis said, Mary, you remember when you told me that we were going to have a tea of black faculty and staff? And I said, yeah, and you're going to host. He said, yep, she did that. She said that we're going to all meet at her. I said, you right across the street from the university. We didn't have to do anything but just walk across the street, because most of the faculty didn't know anyone. We did start black faculty, and then we expanded to include and staff, because there were some professional staffers in other departments at East Carolina University. And we reminisced for a little while. And Dennis did accept hosting the first meeting at his home on Fifth Street. And then we talked about Dr. Downing, who was a freckle-faced African-American in the School of Education, and he was EDD, education, a PhD, an education doctoral faculty member at East Carolina. So I Lord, all these DDs are getting together. Lord, I'm getting on that. But anyway, I'm talking about the show, and I'm talking about the dates. The stakeholders meeting is coming up at East Carolina Joiner Library, and I accepted that invitation. And of course, I will be going tomorrow at 9:00. And this is why I like this show. You have all kinds of opportunity and diverse kinds of opportunity. So as a stakeholder, I'm still a little down from losing a lifetime friend and classmate. So the parking of that stakeholders meeting at East Carolina University, and you are invited to this meeting, and as a stakeholders, and you accept it so they would know. And I'm looking at my map of where to park, because having been at Joiner from 1970 to 1998, the campus has quite changed. So I'm looking at the park. So I want you to know that we are moving into changing. The world is changing. And AI, I went from a lot of different assignments at Joiner Library. And the last one was a multicultural person. In other words, I was the professional in the different kinds of collections to be built as a bibliographer at East Carolina. And, you know, all kinds of things such as AI and communistic country. East Carolina University has one of the strongest uh, communist collection in the United States, I would think. And it's a little known jewel for it. But I'm going to, I don't know who's going to be there. I wasn't privileged to the invitation list, but I did accept it. And haven't been to the campus for any purpose. And the administration did invite some formal people. But I want you to know that we have to get up, make changes in life, and we need to share our experiences so that we will grow positively rather than pushing what isn't positive, the ugly, because, you know, my parents, foreparents were slaved and enslaved. And I don't think I'm free right now, to tell you the truth, because economically I'm not. And actually, there are certain kinds of things I can't even do as an African American person. And this society now tends to bring up a lot of fear and hatred rather than love and understanding and embracing and going forward in respect and kindness. That's what I'm seeing as someone who has gone through so many different things in life in the 19th century to the 20th century and then the 21st century of Pitt County lifetime. The things I'm bringing up now is that we have to share and respect and understand, because I did mention to them that I knew Benny. I had worked in his office to get to know the everyday common man. And Benny Robert Roundtree, that was his name, was sincere about civil rights and advocating for the civil rights of those who could not advocate for themselves. And he was buried recently. But so Carlton started something, and with the Teals family. Harry Teal, you all know, was recognized by the Human Relations Council. And he talked about his life because his father, Harry, was the young educated person who was used in the civil rights lawsuit because his father was in civil rights. We'll be back in a few. Are we going to go to something else? To finish the whole thing? God, well, I have 5 minutes before I'm over. Harry was in civil rights also. And anyway, I want to say this, though, because I did hear about that motorcade. Something that I'd never experienced before, the sheriff had organized the creation of a motorcade for the taking of Walter family's members to where he will lay at rest. And we went to Goldsboro, and it was like clockwork. You watched it on television when presidents are buried, but it was a yeoman's job at every county where we begin to cross in. The sheriff was there to greet us and escort the motorcade towards his final resting place. never experienced that in my life. And I was riding with the person who was documenting it in history uh, through the photographer and the videographer, because that was a task that I wanted done as Walter's classmate, and our class was sponsoring that documentation. So it was something, the way the motorcade, the retiree veterans was in front of the hearse. The motorcade started with the sheriff and then the ministers and then the media, and then the motorcade of veterans in front of the hearse, and then the family behind, and the whole motorcade ended with a deputy at the end of the line when the traffic was stopped, and we never stopped rolling. And Walter's son, I won't call any names, but Mildred just loved her two sons. My two boys, she'll say. Mildred Atkinson Council has two sons, Logan and Baker. Baker, I don't know the difference between them, but Logan is I think, an ambassador to South America, and he is a native of Pitt County. And I was saying, when these kind of dignitaries come back home to worship and bury their loved ones, we should find some way to do that. And we ended that last night with the school system. I am going to continue this and next week on what happened with the school system and trying to impede on spacious living in the county, that our children have to be bused a long distance from home to be educated, and we don't have the resources to go to the teachers' meeting and all of that. I am really emotional and upset by that. Now, I got 1 minute before I leave today, and I want to thank you for being patient with me in this time as I learn as I am able to express my grief positively for the county as the Pitt County community representative for District 2, chosen, selected, and is willing to serve Mary Perkins-Williams for the Pitt County government to the best of my ability, with love, understanding, and hope that we will remain vigilant to the Christianity of life and the morals of mankind and respect for the human being. This is the Mary Perkins-Williams Show. It's nice having you on Awesome Radio 107.5 on the radio dial of FM, WECU, or the call letters, 1570 AM. My prayers go out to the council family who's still here, and I look forward to seeing you. God bless, love, 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 respect, and be human. Thank you.
Awesome radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome. Awesome.
Clemmy Family